You're watching News at 10. Let's start with a big one. Now let's stay with the health sector because mental health authorities are thinking of arresting prayer camp operators who violate the human rights of mental health patients in their facilities. Now, a specialist psychiatrist at the Pentecostal Hospital says the authority is collaborating with camps to combine medication to speed up treatment. Odelio Fori had been visiting some of these camps and has this report.
Dr. Frank Manning was worried activities of prayer camps over the years have worsened the health of mental patients, but was quick to add collaborations with the prayer camp is yielding fruit. He added prayer camps which continue to violate the human right of the patient will be made to face the law if found culpable.
The Mental Health Authority is actually going to regulate the way they do their things. Now, people could actually be arrested for violating the human rights of these people they keep there. So now there's not going to be all those physical abuses, there's not going to be emotional abuses, they're going to catch the starvation, and then we're going to teach them better ways of caring for these people.
Mental health institutions have been criticized heavily for increasing their charges, but acting director of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Penamana Pau, says failure to do so will lead to its closure. She lamented the hospital spends about 1,000 cedis treating a patient.
It was either of two things. Either to shut down the hospital because we don't have money to run the hospital, or do something to keep the hospital running. And that's what we came up with. Things are not that free. We can say it's free, let the patient come in, give them the adequate services that they deserve.
At the launch of this year's World Mental Health Week in Accra, the Mental Health Authority reiterated its focus to clear the street of people with mental health conditions. The authority said efforts are also being made to increase and make psychiatric care available nationwide. The authority further spoke about plans to develop a well-structured children and adolescent mental health care in the country.
Right, so tonight we're discussing mental health, and I guess you're going to join us with your views, your comments. Our social media platforms are activated. Our phone number is 0302763450. That number is activated. Speak to me when the phone lines are open. Now, my guest in the studio to help us discuss mental health. To my extreme left, he is Gabriel Akbalu. He's a member, Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council. And then Madam Priscilla Elikplim is a deputy director, community care. We're talking mental health. Gentlemen and lady, you're welcome to News at 10. Let me start with you, Madam Priscilla. So, the issue of prayer camps is disturbing as far as trying to ensure mental health care gets that internationally accepted standards is concerned. Is that the situation? Prayer camps a problem?
Thank you. And good evening to our cherished listeners. Actually, when we talk about genesis of mental disorders, Ghanaian, we believe that mental disorders are caused by evil spirits.
That's our belief?
Yes, majority, we believe. And mostly mental disorders are superstition. So anything that is caused by the devil or punishment from God, the best way to go for treatment is the prayer camp. That's currently, that's our belief. Though we are in the scientific era, but still the belief that the condition is caused by a devil, a punishment from God, exists. So that's why when anyone develop mental disorder, the first point of call
is the church. Or some prayer camp.
And also because of stigma, when you come to the psychiatric hospital or a mental health department, everybody, will know that you have developed a mental condition, you are going to a psychiatric hospital. But when you go to the prayer camp, it's like
that stigma isn't there.
Isn't there much? Isn't there
compared
much
to when you go to a facility at the hospital. Let me speak to Gabriel. I'll come back to you. So you have opened your doors to people who have mental health problems.
Exactly. And
the reason is that they can get care from there?
Exactly. You know, according to a research by Dr. Foriata in 2013, that's University of Ghana Medical School, she said that 70% of those with mental illness go to the churches and the prayer camps to seek recovery from that side. And yes, it's true, the church has played a big role and have been of support to people with mental illness. I've had issues like that with the church I come from, Good News Evangelical Mission International, some time ago, whereby the Bishop Godson Kenakpalu, he worked as an importer and an exporter, and one time his container was broken into a Tema, and we had the drug addicts who had to do that. So later he thought it wise that why don't we see the problem of these people and help them? So that is how come they brought the other people. They took them from the how do you call it, from the ghettos in Tema to Kodiabe, where they could be, through spiritual exercises, could help them come out. And I should say that with the exercise, we got quite a lot of people coming out from this drug addiction stuff and those who are victims of this issue. And as I speak to you now, 2 of them have been recovered fully and are pastors serving in 2 churches now. So the church is really playing a good support to people who are like that. And I think as it stands now, we have a new case of one man who had a problem of hallucination. He also had insomnia and some of these issues of depression. And we brought him home. We used the spiritual exercise. We prayed for them, and also used the mental hospital with the right drugs. And gradually, the person is getting back on track. So the church is really playing a big role.
But it's not that you don't believe that they could get properly treated at a medical facility.
We believe in both schools of thought. You understand? That is how come I told you in the new case we had to patronize the 2, whereby we pray for them, but still we take them to the mental hospital to go through treatment to make sure they are fine.
How would you react to the concerns that the church prayer camps are taking over the work of psychiatric facilities?
Well, I should say, like she mentioned, that the stigma is also one issue that's making it that people choose to just go to the prayer camps and traditional healing centers instead of patronizing the psychiatric hospital, because it's a stigma that nobody wants to have that name there. I mean, your family member is not mentally sound, and you know, in issues of marriage, when you have this thing popping up, people will not like to enter families where they have problem with mental illness. So people like to go to the prayer camps where it's a bit covered. People don't really prayer camp. We have all kinds of issues people go there with. So how will you know? So to cover up the stigma, that is the decision they take or the step they take to try and cover it up. So that is it in that regard. That is how come
people there.
No. People are coming.
Let me go to Madam Priscilla Tavia. Now, you mentioned the stigma, and which Gabriel also alluded to, that it could be the reason why people are rushing to these prayer camps.
Yeah.
Don't you also get worried that perhaps the number of psychiatric facilities you have in Ghana and mental health workers could be responsible for why people won't come to your end, but would prefer to go to the churches? Your numbers are not enough.
Yeah, it could be. But currently, formerly we have only the 3 specialist psychiatric hospital, Ankafo Psychiatric Hospital, Accra Psychiatric Hospital, and the Pantine Hospital. They are the 3 main facilities that cater for mental disorders or people with psychological distress. But currently, we have extended our care to all facilities, all health facilities in the country. So wherever there is a health facility, either government hospital, a health center, you'll find a mental health care over there.
So every facility has mental health care?
Yes.
Running?
Yes.
This is not an exercise that has started and is ongoing, but
it has started in 1980. So if not all, currently, about 95% of the district hospitals have a mental
psychiatric treatment service offered there.
Yes, and then the health centers do have personnel. There is a cadre of personnel that are being trained these days to augment or to beef up the willfully inadequate numbers. So we call them community mental health officers. So they are all over the health centers, treating, educating the mental patient and the family and the community at large.
So it is not a matter of the fact that we don't have enough facilities and enough personnel, but it is simply that the stigma alone is pushing people.
The stigma is superstition.
It's pushing people to move there. Now, should we continue to allow people to have that perception that it is mental health disorder, it is caused by witchcraft, it is caused by the devil, it is punishment from God, and so we should go to the churches? Should we go ahead?
That's why currently what we are doing is education. Education. Public information. We are giving information to the public. The mental disorder is just like any other condition. It's treatable. It's manageable. There are a lot of people who are going about with so many other conditions, many other chronic conditions that are treatable. So mental disorder is just one of those conditions. So if you are having mental disorder, it's not a punishment, it's not a curse, because we have moved from the demonological era where we believe that mental disorders are caused by evil spirit to the scientific era where there are causes, identified causes of mental disorders. So now they are treatable.
There are treatment.
There are treatment, scientific and modern treatments.
The two factions work hand in hand. I want to state a practical situation of...
It does not matter of you taking over their job.
No, it's working hand in hand.
Yeah, we are working with
them.
Let
me give the practical situation.
That come and get healed, and so they won't go to the hospitals?
No, you need to go to the hospital at times. In some instances,
is that what your pastors tell them when they come?
No, not the pastors tell them. Some pastors tell them that, but others who really understand what they're doing know that we have to patronize the two. Let me tell you a practical situation that happened. There was this man who called my pastor and said, "Hey, the situation is serious. If he doesn't come to Accra, he's going to die." So when he came, we asked him the questions. What is the problem? He said he has been hearing voices telling him he should commit suicide. And at a point in time, he agreed to take rat medicine to just kill himself and wrote a suicide note. But his family couldn't allow. The next point, he attempted hanging himself. So when he came over, he stated the issue that he heard voices telling him to kill himself, and that's the only option he has. And we've also the issue that he's unable to sleep for 6 days. And he's being told that if he gets to the 7th day and it's not possible, it means that's a problem. When we got that situation, we first prayed with him. And after praying with him, we realized that this is an issue that has to do with insomnia, that has to do with a hallucination. So we took him to the facility, and for some days he was there. And the doctors were seeing to him. After some time, he came back, still praying with him, and he's getting better. So this is what we are talking about, the collaboration. So if they come to the traditional healers, or they come to the churches, and there's a need for them to go there, then that also means that the diagnostic point of the spiritual leader is also critical. So when he sees the situation, the diagnosis right, then there's a need to go to the mental hospital and also manage the two to ensure the person is fully healed.
Gabriel, is this known to all? I am not sure if perhaps every prayer camp in Ghana belongs to the Pentecostal and Charismatic Council. That is an issue we cannot verify now. But when you go through rural communities, every 100 kilometers, you see a prayer camp signboard. And when you go there, you find people in chains, people tied to wooden structures and all of that. Is this not just a few of the elite churches who are doing this, and that the greater majority of them will insist that it is a demon, it is the evil one, and so we need to exorcise the person?
And that's where it comes to education. That's the situation we have all come to meet. 2 to 3 years ago, all the factions in mental health are all working together to ensure that this thing is worked on. So it's an issue of education. Now, when somebody came, the last time when I visited the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, there was one man who came very wild, very violent. But they just gave him some tranquilizers and the man cooled down. But in the case of the prayer camps, they don't know anything like that. So if somebody is very violent, the best thing they know is that when you chain him, he's settled. So they don't know the medicinal aspect of what giving them those things to calm them down. So that is how come there's a need for a collaboration. The people are going to the prayer camps. They are going to the traditional healing center. So what do? The best we can do is let us rather educate them. Let's get the centers understand the role they have to play when patients behave this way. That is how you are supposed to do it. And when we educate them, rather, I mean, we work hand in hand, and that because what we are working is not to say that yes, the doctors are exclusively doing their work, and the traditional healers are also exclusively doing their work. The fact is that we are both coming together to make sure we make the person fit and fine.
So you are not advocating that we close these prayer camps down?
No, there's no need to close. The best we can do is to educate them. Tell them if somebody comes to this situation is very violent, this and this is what you have to do. Because they are about, they look at how we can sort the issue out. But what happens before healing, they might not know how to handle it. And probably what happens after healing too, they don't know how to handle it. So when the mental health institutions come together and partner with these people, they do more education. And I think it's ongoing. I remember when we were reviewing the legislative instruments by the Mental Health Authority, we had one of the pastors of the Mount Horeb Prayer Ministry. He was also there. Okay. And also some other institutions. We have Ghana Health Association of Ghana, where we have Christian institutions also pushing forth. So it's bit by bit. People are getting it gradually. So what the authority can do is that we can put all of them together and try how we can monitor whatever they're doing. And with that, we are helping solve the problem. Okay. Whether they go there more or to the hospital
Let
more,
me get
we help
my
them
viewers to join us on this discussion. You can speak to us on 0302 763 450 0302 763 450. Join us and ask questions if you have any, or perhaps you want to make a contribution. 0302 763 450. Let me quickly come back to Madam Priscilla Tawia. So, from what Gabriel is saying, and from what you have just told me, stigmatization and all of that, how do you see the role of families in perhaps worsening the mental health of their members when it strikes?
Thank you. Before we go to the role of the families, let me quickly add to what Gabriel just said. Gabriel's facility is just one of few facilities that we have started work with. So we Mental Health Authority, currently we are working with the prayer camps. We are not working against them, or we are not taking their jobs from them.
Okay, hold on. Madam, hold on. Let me get Razak from Tamale to join us on this discussion. Razak, good evening and thanks so much for staying there.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Razak, please go ahead.
Okay. Please, what I wanted to say is that actually it's a two-way street, because the spiritual aspect is very important as well as the medicinal aspect. So at the end of the day, going to close down the prayer camps, it will be inappropriate. There should be a collaboration so that at the end of the day, everything that is to be done will be done. But closing these prayer camps is not going to help anybody. That's just what I want to say.
Razak, I'm grateful you called us from Tamale. Right. Madam, so you're making a point that Gabriel's entity is one of the few that you're working with.
Yes, we are working with them. Our aim is not to close them down, but the closing them down will come when maybe in the future, after training them, educating them, training them on the basic principles of management of people with mental disorders, if
they continue to do
to do the wrong thing, like chaining people, flogging them, like as if we are still in the demonological era, beating the bad spirit out of them.
Of course, if the bad spirit is in him or her, they'll beat the spirit out.
Because chaining them as if as a human being. For instance, with your status, mental disorder is irrespective of person's status, age, creed, color. The moment you fall sick, that means you'll be chained and dehumanizing activities that will go on. If they continue doing that after training them, they still continue doing that.
Then
that is
you're
when
going to close it. So
they're closing down.
Are you then looking at a period of time? When
yes, currently we are taking inventory of all prayer camps in Ghana.
I'll come back to you later. Samuel is joining us from Samuel, thanks so much for staying there. What is on your mind about this issue we're discussing?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Bright.
Good evening, Samuel.
In fact, I think that it looks as if mental health is not a priority, those in authority, especially the mental health board and some of the people that have control over the mental health issues. Why am I saying this? I'm sure you must have been aware of the Kintempo project. People completed the Kintempo project with mental health background. They are not clearing them for them to go into the field to work. We are waiting until the day one of them will fall sick and they will be brought to the hospital. Then they will know that it is important that they clear them to go to the field and work. Because they're supposed to give the power to allied health professionals to clear these professionals to go out to the field and work. They are not doing that, and these people are there. So we are waiting until the day any of them will fall sick and they are brought to the hospital. Then they will know that it is important they clear them. Because, look, it could be you. It could be anybody. Mental health has no, those who are on it are not born with it. It's as a result of something that led to it. You might never know. Tomorrow it could be you. So let's clear these people out for them to go to the field and help our brothers and sisters who are in this predicament. Thank you very much.
Samuel, we're grateful you joined us from Wa in the Upper East region. And Madam Priscilla, so you're making a point, but I'll come back to you. Let me quickly pick from Gabriel. And so the caller is suggesting that there's a need to get more professionals onto the field. Really, do you see the churches as the kind of professionals we need?
Well, the church is playing its role, right? The church is not too professional because they have not been educated to do that. You understand? So,
Gabriel, please hold on again. Sorry, let me speak to Adam from Ho in the Volta region. Adam, good evening and thanks so much. This is News at 10, and I'm sure you've been following our discussions.
Yes, of course. I'm really following the discussion.
So please go ahead. Tell me what's on your mind.
Yeah, I think that the need for community mental health, as Sister Priscilla was emphasizing on, is very necessary. And then I think authorities are not doing best to encourage community mental health officers, and then encouraging them to go into the community, educating people on the need to access this mental health care in the health facilities, and then people living in the community always believe in the church system. Okay? So I think there is a need for the mental health authorities to at least encourage the community mental health officers, and then the nurses to educate the people in the community to at least come to realize that they need to blend the church system and then with
the medical facilities.
The medical, yes.
Great. Thanks so much. You made your point. Thank you for calling us from Ho in the Volta region. So, Gabriel, you were making a point before the caller came in.
Yes.
And I was asking that, do you see the church providing that professional touch to treating mental health care?
Well, I could say that the church is trying. That is how come as it stands now, we've seen some flaws. That when it comes to dealing with violent patients, they don't know how to work it out. When it even comes to taking care of them. Some of them don't know how to handle it. You understand? So that is how come we are calling for the need for a collaboration, like she said, that they are trying to list all the prayer camps. It's ideal we list. Then we train them well as to how to deliver the job very well, because they are also in the process delivering the service that the hospital is delivering. So I think the authority, together with the institutions that come within, the agencies that are working together, need to, train the church, the Pentecostal, the Charismatic Council, in churches that are into stuff like this, so they can do it very well. So I think this is what needs to be done actually.
Are you able to sanction any member of the council who perhaps after the period of this education and sensitization, and when finally mental health authorities move in to deal with these prayer camps that are not conforming to perhaps agreed standards, is your council able to punish your members who violate this? Because all this while they have been violating it, and yet nobody seems to say anything.
That should be after the council has sat down with the authority to draw down the plans, education, how to go about it, those who flout the rules. So when it's worked out like that, the church also plays its role. Not just the mental hospital and the institutions inclined to do that, but the churches all play their role. So as the professionals are speaking, the churches are also conscientizing. We make sure people do their best. But in that case, where we have people who go off guard, that's just going to be a minute number. When two people are hitting it from left and right, the impact is better. So I think with that, we just have a few people who try to, be very stubborn in that regard. But I think when it gets to that stage, of course, sanctioning can come in because they flouted the rules. So yeah, when it gets to that stage whereby both sides have spoken to the people within the value chain and they don't work it out, of course there should be some sanctions to discourage others who also want to do same, so that it becomes sanctity and sanity in the mental health process.
Let me go to Madam. We're beginning to wrap up this conversation, and so you have set aside timelines to go through the processes, and when do you hope to stop and then to say that now we're going to punish those who go against our law?
Thank you. We just started implementing the Mental Health Act. Currently, we are educating everybody on the Act, because it is punishable in the Act, per the Act, that if you change someone at a prayer camp more than 48 hours, is punishable. 500 penalty points, and the point is 12 cedis, so it's 6,000
Ghana cedis. 500 times 12.
Yeah, 6,000 Ghana cedis. So currently we are educating them, like I said earlier on, that we are taking inventory of all the prayer camps. So after taking inventory, we'll train them. We'll train them to
handling mental
health patients. How best to handle them, which ones they are supposed not to keep there at all. They are to refer them immediately to a health facility. And the collaboration is such that currently we have collaborated with few of them. So they are serving as like a pilot.
Okay. So,
yes.
They are the trainers of trainers.
Not really. There are some that we have collaborated with, so that even when they receive clients that are beyond them, they call. They have a link between the professionals in their communities. So they call the mental health professional to visit their facility, treat them, and vice versa. If possible, they also refer or they bring the client to
a higher medical facility.
So that's how we want it to go. So the mental health professional can enter any of the prayer camps. We are not talking about only prayer camp. We are talking about faith-based healing. So we all believe in a supernatural being.
Religion are part
they are part of the process. Any faith that you believe that with my faith this will do, because management of mental disorder is not only the medical aspect. We have the psychosocial aspect as well, and in the psychosocial aspect, the social aspect, the spiritual aspect is part of it. So we are not against them, but we just want them to handle the clients with
in the
care.
right way.
They should respect their dignity in whatever way that they handle them. Not that if you have a mental disorder, that means you are nobody. They can handle you anyhow. Some are being kept under the mercy of weather because they want the bad spirits to to leave them.
When rain beats the bad spirit will run away.
That's it. So those are the
bad
issues.
spirit should have run away when they cross a river on their way to the prayer camp. Gabriel, let wrap up for me. So mental health week in Ghana and the fact that you guys are doing such a great job to deal with this problem. Which way do we go in wrapping up?
I think I still talk about what I mentioned earlier on the collaboration. Like that's already happening. We should collaborate more and have patience with the system. To be patient with some of those people operating the prayer centers who are some of them who are not literate. You have to exercise patience with them to get it up to understand. Our major goal is to make sure that the patient who is being treated should be well treated by both factions. So we make sure that we give them the right training and be patient with the system. And also G.P.C.C will also play a role. And I think we also encourage more of the denominations in the Pentecostal and Charismatics to open up centers like that and also have a collaboration with the Mental Health Authority to have more education for them. And I think that will really help us. But finally, what I want to talk about is the funding. I know funding is quite difficult when it comes to mental health because people don't tend to see the benefit. As it stands now, Danida and UK is quite doing well. That Britain is doing very well to mental health in Ghana. But then I think that corporate Ghana also has some roles to play. We have to revise our corporate social responsibility policies to inculcate mental health. Yes, so that we could support, because look at what is happening at the hospital now. Now the prices have been increased. If somebody wants to be how do you say, to get to the VIP side because he has a problem, for 2 weeks he has to pay 600 Ghana cedis. For a month he has to pay 1,100 Ghana cedis. That's on the higher side. But I think if corporate Ghana comes in, this company, the telcos comes in, they pick some, the service industry also picks some, it becomes very easy, and reduce the cost of the service in Ghana, and it helps all of us. We can do it ourselves, so let's all play our role, as the G.P.C.C also plays its role to ensure that there's dignity accorded the mental health patients and our nation as well.
Gabriel Akpalu is a member of Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, and Madam Priscilla Elikplim-Taria is a Deputy Director, Community Care. Gentlemen and lady, I'm grateful for your time tonight.
Thank you very much.
Great. Well, we'll come back on the Echo. We'll talk about utility prices and perhaps if you're ready to pay more. Stay there. This is News at 10. We're coming back.